Hello, everyone. My name is Gil Penalosa, and this is Cities for Everyone, the webinar, where every other week I invite fascinating people to share their knowledge and experience on topics that are going to help all of us become more passionate advocates on creating cities that are equitable, that are sustainable, and that are fun. Originally, I'm from Bogota, Colombia, and I've been living in Toronto, Canada for the last 26 years. And this video is the presentation of two amazing people. The sessions are 1 hour every other Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time or 5 p.m. Central European Time. And the videos are only the presentations of the guest, which is 30 minutes. Then the last 30 minutes is a dialogue for people that are connecting live. And today we got a fantastic topic. School streets enhancing neighborhoods in Paris and Barcelona. And the two guests are very knowledgeable, have worked on it, have seen all the barriers and how to overcome and how to implement and doing it. Priscilla Benedetti from Paris, she works for the city, and Jordi Honey-Rosés, who has been a professor and academic and has been measuring the benefits, the impact of school streets on the community. Priscilla and Jordi, welcome. Hello, Priscilla, Jordi, how are you?
Hello, Gail. Nice to
Bonjour.
see you. Hello, Priscilla. Nice to see you
Nice to
too.
see you, Jordi.
It's so nice. And one of the things that I find is that people think, oh, it cannot be done. And oh, my city is too big. Or I'm not Barcelona. I'm not Paris. Well, in the last few weeks, I've been working in a small city, Sarasota, Florida, in a medium-sized city, Tampa, and also a beautiful city, The Hague in the Netherlands. And they're not as big. But what to get cities, it doesn't matter. What these two amazing people are going to tell us is equally applicable to a city of 100,000 or 1 million or 10 million. Also, we are bombarded on things to change at the beginning of the year, or the well-being. I said, okay, part of well-being is up to us. So we said, oh, we need to eat healthier and sleep 8 hours and have socialize and contact with nature and also physical active. But part of it is the cities. That's one of the things that I'm talking and working with the cities. How can they make us be able to live healthier as the easy option? So it's not just saying be physically active. No, we need safe sidewalks and safe bike lanes. Contact with nature. Well, we need parks within walking distance. Socialize. Let's have programs. So we enhance. So it's not just about saying, oh, be social. No, let's make it really, really easy with funding many programs. So it's about that. It's the individual, but also the cities. Cities need to make it healthier. For example, in every place that is public, in the schools, in the libraries, in the parks, do not sell sugar drinks. We know that in sugar drinks like Coca-Cola or Pepsi, there is not one single ingredient that is good for people. Why sell it? I mean, if you want to bring it from home, that's fine. I'm not saying that eliminate, but do not sell it in public spaces. And today, the talk today about school street is about that. How can cities be better so that children can actually walk to school, enjoy school, socialize, and also these places become magical community places for non-school hours?
So we are in 2020 when everything started. So 2020, what happened? So first we got our election, and Anne Hidalgo, the current mayor, got elected. At the same time, what she's asking her and her team is a new political program to improve kids' environment in the city. As it's the case for many big capitals in the world, young couple, when they have kids, they tend to leave the city for the suburb to go away because of the quality of their children within the city. And so the new program was calling to improve the life of kids in the city for young parents to be able to enjoy their life in the city with kids. At the same time, in 2020, what happened, as everybody know as well, COVID-19 hits with the thing of social distances. That was a big thing in front of our school. because like everywhere also, like when you're waiting for your kids in front of the school, it looks like this, like that. And we are asked to close the streets to have more space to wait for your kids at school. So from this, they are asking us to add gates everywhere to have more space and respect social distances. In 2020, we closed 50 streets for the COVID time. We close it in many different ways. It could have been from like very simple way like this, also with some plants in order for cars not to go straight but zigzag in between and slow down, like this also. And we start seeing a real mobilization from the parents, something that we never saw before, really bottom-up manifestation to have a closed street in front of school. Second chapter, the method, how we did it. So first, which space? As you know, Paris is an extremely dense city. So how to create new spaces for children in density? Just for you to know, people per square kilometers in Paris is 25,000. In comparison, I was in London, for example, last week. There are 5,000 per kilometers. New York, 5,000. New Delhi, 7,000. So we are extremely dense city, as you saw in the picture. Before, the life of kids in Paris were in the streets. Streets were used to be the playground. They were playing with like all the street furniture. They were not scared to go to streets. And they were hanging out in the stairs, as you see, and in their street, down their street, the parents were calling us to go home. They were going to school by themselves. There was real autonomy. Now, what they are owning is not the streets anymore, but the sidewalk. As you see, you have like the street with cars, the fence, and they are behind the sidewalk. Or parks are the only safe place to play anymore, like this. So we saw a real demand. Also, like when they want to go to school, it's someone that makes them cross. So it's really like, how to say, not safe to go in the city anymore. And it has to be very controlled, either by gates, either by parents or adults that are taking care of them and their safety in the city. When we saw where kids were actually spending time in the public space, we saw that it was basically between their home and their school. So what was made more sense for us was to redefine the school street, because it's where all the kids are going. So then how did we choose the streets? Because I've been asked a lot, how do we prioritize? How do we choose the streets? So it's very simple. We basically took the list of all the schools from 0 to 18 years old, to university as well, because even from university, we have a lot of students as well, and still small sidewalk. And also public equipment, such as music, dance schools, sports facility, libraries, community centers, some parks and gardens, because I don't know if for you it's the same, but in Paris, schools are small, and most of the time you have to bring the kids, as you see in the picture, to the library, to the school, to the sport equipment, or the park, everything. And so it also makes it like dangerous, especially when they are waiting in front of the equipment to get in, when you have a very narrow sidewalk. So then we take all this list of streets, and first we try to pacify them. So the goal is, of course, to close it with real gates. That's the strategy of Paris. And to see if we can gate it, as you can see in this picture. And I precise that all the gates are gates that can be open. For example, I was in London last week and I saw that the gates are really like closed, but we want to make it open in case. I will show you later why. So how can we see if we can close the street or not from our big list of streets? So first, it cannot be a street with, for example, a supermarket, because it means a lot of trucks are going to go every day. We cannot close it if you have a bus passing in the streets, a big parking like this. And also in terms of traffic map, does it work or not to close it? For example, if you have two streets and both of the streets you have a school inside. If you close, for example, the street of school 2, then what is going to happen is that school 1 is going to be full of cars. So it has to be like a street where we have to change the traffic map. And really traffic map changes is the key in all the process. I could explain you how to change a traffic map more. I could develop it more, but I will send you like the presentation and you can check it. I even have one with some text to really explain you because it can be a bit tricky. For example, I have a map of Ghent in Belgium that redid all their traffic map. And for example, their goal was to define, for example, an area with like big roads that are going both sides. And then inside you decide that it's going to be a quiet zone. It's a bit what London did actually. And then you change the traffic map. For example, before when I was a car here and I wanted to go there, I was just like crossing the area like this and then going there. Now you change the traffic map. And for example, if I live here, I can go in, go home, but then it makes me go back here. Like this, you only have traffic on the big line. And inside, it's only for people that live there or have something to do there. I have also some maps, and I will send it to you, but I don't have time to develop it more. But really, it was a case for us to know also, like, if you have too many people, of course, you can count how many cars with this kind of example, but you have like many more. In London, for example, everything is within the ground, and they know like 24 hours how many cars they have where and everything. But for us, we just do this once and then we change the traffic map and then we'll know for sure that they won't be cars anymore because you change the traffic map and car cannot go anymore. So then you don't even need all this like high-tech counting everywhere, as the goal is to have a sustainable city that is like a low-tech city. And so then when you gate a street, you go from there to there. Just easy gates, some paints, and kids are happy. Sometimes to convince a bit the mayor for this like just gate street, we add some painting. Sometimes it can be a bit developed with like the theme of sport. Sometimes it can be work with artists also that we do. Sometimes it can be also open in different way. But what I wanted to say is that in this method, it was really easier to start by just like gate in the streets to convince people to do the full project afterward. For example, if you tell the people that you're going to go from this street to this street, they're going to be extremely scared because they're going to say, okay, you're closing the street, you're planting trees. If it doesn't work, we cannot go backward, you know? And what they're scared of is that we do this street and that their neighborhood look like this, totally packed everywhere, and that we create a full mess. So what we tell them is that this is their street. And the first step, we are just going to add a gate here, like this. And just to see if it works or not. Like this, you just tell them, okay, it's very cheap. It's just a gate. People can open it. And if we see like a big mess in terms of traffic map around, we can change it. And then if it doesn't work, we remove the gate and everything is like before. And like this, people are will way more accept to try this project than to do like the full project that cost $500,000, for example. And also you save money and time, because for example, to make accept like this project, it can take 1 year, but to make accept this project, it can take like a few months. So this was our first method, to first do this, and then you have like 6 months to draw and talk with the people about what they want, and then to make the full project. So the full project is like you really adapt the street, and that would be like our first step. So how to adapt a street? So in Paris, we really wanted to have kind of the same street everywhere to have something a bit standardized, because first we have something in Paris that is called les architectes des bâtiments de France, that are a team of architects that work for the government, and we have to show them all our projects, and they have to validate it to say if it doesn't destroy too much this image of all the Paris that we love so much, of course, but that we try to modernize also with like the new use and the new need of cities. So I'm going to show you all the really standardized street we have, but also we wanted something that is really comprehensive for everybody. For example, if you start going close to a street like this, that look like that, you know that there will be a school. So you will need to be like more careful, because it means there will be vulnerable people such as kids. So what we do in all our streets, first we level the ground. First step, we make all the ground super flat to make it accessible. You can have a wheeling chair, you can be with a trolley, you can be with kids who want to learn how to bike. Everything is flat. Also, we try to more and more green the inside of the school, so they cannot learn the bicycle, not so much there. In parks, you cannot learn bicycle because you have this ground that is not made to learn bicycle. So actually, they had no space to learn bicycle. So we are like, okay, everything has to be flat, and like this, they have as much space as possible, you know? So we go from this to this. Second, in Paris, we have a very dark color floor. And this was making a real problem in terms of temperature. And we have this also, as all the cities, this new program to improve heatness, especially in summer in big cities. And so what we are doing in all our school now is to try this new kind of asphalt that is very clear and light, and that we are adding in all the streets to have a very clear floor. And like this, when you are in the summer, you can be chilling there. It's not as hot as before. You can be under the trees, the shadow and everything. And it's cool. So we go from this to this. Then more green. Of course, we want to make it as green as possible. But also, as you know, if we have a city that looks like this, then our basements look like that. It's full of everything: pipeline, electricity, telecom, metro, everything. So it's really hard actually to plant trees in Paris. So what we do is very simple, is that on the map, so for example, this is a map of a street. You have sidewalk, you have parking line, and the streets. So what we do is that we check where are the network. There they are. So then it means we can plant on those green fields, and then I draw the project like that. So then it looks like that. So we really try to plant as much as possible. We see if like trees have enough space in terms of roots and everything to plant, and we plant as much as possible. We don't even look to make it nice or not. We just plant as much as possible, because also we know that those streets, we are not going to go back there like in for the next 10 years, you know, so we plant as much as possible. In terms of stormwater management, also we have a big thing in Paris to try to make it happen. So in every green space, we are studying, of course, like the basement, to see if like the water from the rain can go inside. If it can, we make this special furniture that is open for the water to go inside. And if it cannot, we make it full. Like this, we really try to adapt also to get as much rain as water as possible. In terms of street furniture, first we add a fountain in every school street. What we want is for kids to be able to be in their streets and to stay there, especially in summer when it's very hot, not to go and buy a bottle of water, a plastic bottle of water. Like this, they can have accessible water full time. And what is very important, a fountain that is at their height, so they can really take it themselves. And one for like a bottle to also like encourage people to use like a refilling bottle. little garbage everywhere, corbeille. Also, what we saw is that more and more family are commuting by bike to the school. Actually, parents that can go by foot to the school, they will continue to go by foot. But people that are going by car, most of the time it means that they don't have a public transport that can bring them to where they are going. So they are not gonna like end up going by car to take the metro if there is no metro that brings them there. But maybe if it's the road that brings them there, they can go by bicycle. So what we are doing is that then we are doing like bike lane everywhere in Paris to encourage parents to go with their kids on the bike, to drop the kids and then to go to work. And in order to do this, you need secure bike lane. So as you know, we have this massive plan in Paris to do like kilometers of bike lane everywhere in Paris to make it secure, to encourage parents to be able to use a cargo bike to bring their kids at school. And so in front of every school street, we are adding bike parking. And also cargo bike parking that is a bit lower like this. Also for the waiting time, as you know, when you go and pick up your kids, you are waiting sometime long time waiting for your kids to come. And most of the time it's grandparents to go to wait to pick them up. So we are adding a sitting in every school street for the people waiting for it. And also what we are trying to give in those school is that the feeling of like before it was how to say a street to pass by, you know, for cars to pass by, for people to pass by, to a street to spend time, you know, to pass some time, to be sitting, to be chilling, to be playing and everything. So sitting was really important. But then what we noticed is that those sitting were at adult height, but not at kids' height. And for example, when I see my friends with kids, for example, when kids want to sit in their street, you have to take it and put it on the bench. When you give them food, like you have to be careful they don't fall and everything. And so at the end, they were not totally autonomous. So what we are doing now is benches at children height too. Like this, really like small kids can sit by themselves and they really like feel to be I see a lot of heart. Thank you. They can really feel it's their street, and you understand that kids are part of public space too, and it's really important for us. It's really funny. I just make a little parenthesis. I was at IKEA last weekend, and children are so happy at IKEA because actually you have like furniture on their size everywhere and they can do everything they want. They can play, they can wash their hand and everything. And this is all part of like the Montessori method also to make kids feel safe and part of the community too. And it was really important for us also to make this happen. Then color and game. Of course, we make kids vote for which games they want in front of their school. So it can be something that is educational, educative, like this solar system, for example, but also like little game to just play, learn to ride a bike. Sometimes they ask us to draw them like a bike circuit, and have fun in the streets. That's the whole goal, you know, like kids can play in their streets. Before, like, for example, the parents was going to a park on the right, a park on the left, or going home. Now they can just like, when they go out from school, when it's sunny, for example, they can play in their street. Parents can talk together, and that's a success for us. The last step is to organize a street event for people to really own their streets. So first, for young kids, we organize site visits to explain them what we are doing, to really make them understand why we are doing it and the importance of it. It makes me think of the first thing you say, how to talk to kids about cities. That is very interesting. I'm going to come to learn about this. Also, planting events. When we are planting, we call the kids to plant the trees and the thing with them. Sometimes we even add a little card in front, you know, like in the metal thing, to explain them the name of each plant. More and more also we are planting trees with food, like fruit, to show them where does it come from. When they are more teenager, It's more like we explain them when it's finished why we did the project, or what they can do there, that they can stay after school, they can talk. We had benches and everything. Also toys on site for some school street. We have also this big thing that you can rent toys on site. Like these kids don't need to bring their toys or go home because they didn't bring anything, and you can just like rent the thing and play with your friend. As you can see, we have a lot of toys like a little bike, this thing, and everything to again like use the space. We asked the school to organize a school fair also in the streets for kids to really like do activities outside. It became something also important is that it really became also a site for local community events. It can be used for everything and really become like a new heart inside the neighborhood that is in front of a public equipment. Once a year, we organize the day of school streets, and it's very good because like all the streets that already have their layout and that already changed, they organize it. The ones that are closed also, but the ones that are not closed yet, they also organize it, the parents, to say, look, we closed it for one day, it was okay. And then they talk about to the other parents about it, and then they try to make them more sensitive about this cause, and it really work to make parents want like school street more and more. And as you can see in the picture, like kids are very happy. Like we did a lot of feedback study about it. Kids are very happy, but who is very happy also is the parents. As you can see, those two dads, because they are saying that, as I was saying before, they were just living with their kids because you have no space on the sidewalk. But now you can really have time to meet other parents, but also some teachers. They were telling us that sometimes they can go outside the school and ask like two parents to come and talk with them. The director of the school also, it really creates like a social bond. So it's a very also social project at the same time to create this. And what's next? So we have two goals in Paris. The first one is to pacify 300 streets like this. Now we are at 230, and we are going to reach the 300 by the end of the mandate. So it's good. And the goal number 2 is to adapt 100 streets in mean of layering, green space, and everything. And we are going to reach it by the end of next year with 150 school streets. So it's a success so far. You can find, I add here like the website for School Street with the map and everything like this. If one day you come to Paris, you can see the project. And some before after. So this is like before and after a school street, but also to show you example, we also make it in like big streets. Like this is like a very large street. So it goes from this to this. Also here we add like a chess. This is what the kids ask. And inside they have like massive chess toy, let's say, and you know, they place it and they play it, and it's very fun. Also we do a lot of schools that are in front of park. And before, you see, they were like basically cut with a road in the middle. So parents, they were taking the kids and then looking like right, left, and then crossing to go to the park. Now it's just like the full space, like this even became the park, you know, like you are here, kids can go, you are totally secure, you can really, I mean, our goal was really like for parents to be able to, how to say, to leave the hand of the kids, you know, because this is what you see now. Kids are just like glued by hand with their parents because city is so dangerous, but now they can also own their space. Also like small streets like this, you can, what is interesting also is that in Paris, we have this cafe culture that is really like every time we close a street, like they love to, we see a lot of cafe bar opening that really make the city alive, and that we love to see this. Like for example, parents are, they drop their kids and they go here to have a coffee, and also like bonding with other parents and school community. And so this street, for example, you're going to see the 3 step. So for example, here you have the entrance. So from this to the step where we just close it to show the people that nothing is happening, we can do the real project, to the real project where we plant the trees, the game, the floor flattered, and the clear floor, the light floor. Et voilà. Merci beaucoup.
The quality of what you've done in Paris is exceptional, and fantastic slides, fantastic photos. So let me introduce myself. So my name is Jordi Honey, and I'm a research professor at the Autonomous University of Barcelona. And Gil and Priscilla and I met in Albania on a program or in a workshop on Streets for Kids, where Tirana was also there, also Milan, and we got to see the wonderful school streets taking place in Tirana, Albania. And I'm a researcher, so I'm based in Barcelona for the last 3 years. I was invited to be a part of this project when I was still a faculty member at the University of British Columbia, because my work there had been on impact evaluation, and the city and IS Global research unit here in Barcelona were working on an impact evaluation of Barcelona school streets when it was getting started. And so I was invited to work on that. I was initially a little skeptical. I wanted to be sure that as a researcher that the design of the evaluation would go beyond just a simple before and after, that we would also have control groups or comparison schools so that we could see truly measure the impact. But when and we discussed that early on, and the city was very interested in doing something rigorous, and so it's been a great project to work on. So the School Streets program in Barcelona has been motivated by health issues, but also child safety. So even there was a dramatic accident or incident which killed a 5-year-old in October 2019. And that was the incident that motivated Mayor Ada Colau to create a special School Streets program for as many schools as possible. Now, before that, there was parents and schools had been organized, creating demonstrations, protesting on a Friday of each month, closing the streets in front of the school, demanding for safer and healthy school environments. And so when the mayor acted to move, it was really welcomed by the school community. And the issue with that, the many in terms of the health that was motivating parents to get involved was research that had been done on air quality, showing that low air quality in Barcelona was having negative effects in children who went to schools that were more polluted. This was research also done by IS Global that showed very strong evidence of in terms of memory recall and other issues that the children were having negative effects in terms of their educational attainment. This map shows the air quality in the different streets in Barcelona. So where darker colors in red shows poor air quality, green higher, and then the circles are the location of different schools. And you can see that in the grid. So if you've been to Barcelona, you'll know that Barcelona is a city that has various historical centers that's been connected by the grid by Cerdà, which is an orthogonal rational grid, but that's where many vehicles travel through the city. And so that's where the worst air quality issue is. And that's led to superblock designs and other issues which I've studied. But here the focus is on the schools. And we're looking at where those schools overlap with poor air quality. The city officials were approached us asking to evaluate to the best of our ability the design interventions. You can see that there's a very diverse interventions. In some cases, reducing of vehicular traffic lanes, removing of parking, extending sidewalks, both through tactical and structural interventions, fences, lots of signs on the ground, and also vertical signs, lots of paint. In some cases, there are reductions of speed limits, new seating, vegetation, bike parking structures, similar to what Priscilla just described. In some instances, they rerouted bus lanes. So they looked at each school really got a tailored intervention. Changes in traffic direction, sort of using that superblock rerouting approach that Priscilla was also talking about, they did that in some instances so that just by changing the direction of traffic, they're able to reduce through traffic and reduce volumes there. As a researcher who needed to evaluate this, my question was, well, what is the intervention, right? We need to clearly, what's the pill that every school is taking? And so we had to really narrow in on a subset of the school streets program, and looking also at the more dramatic ones, right? Or those that had more ambitious street calming or street closures. In the first year of the 2021 cohort, there were full closures, and in the remaining years, it was just traffic calming interventions. One of our questions was also, what's the additional bang for the buck, right? What's the additional benefits in terms of use of public space that you get by a partial closure from a full closure? And what we found was that it's really with the full closure is that when you get the most benefits. Perhaps not surprisingly, but it was quite dramatic. So that was really a big take-home point from our research. So just some before after shots. This was one where we expected we'd have huge increases in public use because it's a very beautiful space. But it actually disappointed us a little bit in terms of our design. There were actually other sites that had more use of public space than this one. So you'll see that the scales of the streets are different. This is a much smaller street. This was received a full closure in the district of Sanz. This was very, very successful. And this was perhaps the most successful project that connected with the park, just like what Priscilla described. It really turned the street into an extension of the park, and that was where we had the best use of public space and also improvements in air quality, which was a surprise for some. So to give you a sense of the scope of the project and how it had evolved, after the initial accident, there was a small cohort, 2020, there was about 26 schools. There were some other school interventions prior to that, but it really began in 2020. And then 2021 and 22, it ramped up to over 200 schools. Again, receiving all sorts of a diversity of interventions that were really tailored to every particular school. Benefiting, the city was also trying to make sure that it was distributed throughout the city and benefiting public and private schools. Here's just some numbers for anyone who's more technical, working for a city, trying to figure out what these things cost. The school interventions ranged from 45,000 to 350,000 euros. Many of them were much cheaper, just with signage and small play elements. The city was also dealing with the question of when to make it structural, when to make it tactical in terms of structural sidewalk enlargements. Now, many of the tactical, in terms of where we are right now, the city currently is making some of the tactical interventions structural from these school streets. So a lot of the photos you'll see will still be the tactical, but now that's moving to structural. So from a research perspective, I'll try to go quickly because I imagine you have questions for us, and it'd be good to chat. But we were looking at questions about, do more people use the public space? Is there more play? Is traffic reduced? Is this pedestrian flow change? And is there improvement in air quality? And maybe for the sake of time, I can answer those questions right away. Perhaps unsurprisingly, yes, people do use those public space more diversity of users, better gender equity. Yes, there was more play. We do see major reductions in traffic. It wasn't 100% because some of the full closures, there were still motorcycles that were able to get through. On this question of flow, that was actually no. We were wondering whether people would change their pedestrian travel through the city to walk through the school street. And the answer there was no. The same levels of pedestrian flow. So, and then the last question, we were very unsure if there would be improvements in air quality. We put out some air quality monitors, and we do see small reductions, which was very exciting that we were able to pick up on that. Even small reductions can really improve child health. So we were really happy to see that. We're not quite sure we would pick it up, but we did pick something up. I guess an important part of what distinguishes this project from other evaluations is that we have control schools. So these are schools that are within the same neighborhood that have similar street profiles and street characteristics, and where we measured all those indicators that we mentioned before and after, in addition to our treatment. And so that allows us to do some tricky statistical analysis to really isolate the impact of the program and make sure that we're not picking other things up, right? Because things change in the city, or especially we were coming out of the pandemic. So had we not had control groups, the changes in the before after would have been the result of simply coming out of the pandemic and having more movement and activity in the city. And with this design, we were able to make sure that we sort of protect ourselves from that bias. So here you can see the intervention and control schools. So as here, just the same slides of what I repeated before, right? We have reductions in vehicle traffic, 3 times more use of public space, more inclusive public space with more girls and more children. Maybe I don't need to go through all the figures. Here we're comparing the full closure with the partial closure. So traffic, we saw major reductions in traffic. Pedestrian movement, not as much. So we don't see as much changes that we didn't see changes there. And in use of public space, here's where we see the big difference. The full closure streets received a lot more people, and then that was not seen with the partial closure streets. So that's really where we get the really big changes is when you close it to vehicles. Again, more inclusive spaces, looking at women and children and seniors. We're also looking at seniors as an important part of the school street community. We did some heat maps with our observations. We had a team of architecture students going out there and doing these observations to see how the school streets changes those dynamics there. And again, with the full closures where we see the big boost in children playing. And this is our air quality slide. We were able to see between 2 and 7% improvements in NO2. We put out duplicate monitors that were communicated in our team at IS Global that works on health. We're experts and did all the lab work on this, so that was helpful to have them. So yes, school streets do create healthy, vibrant, inclusive, and safe communities. We have strong evidence to show that with a good design. The full closure to vehicle traffic had best results. We also compared morning and afternoon, and it was in the afternoon hours where we saw the most increase in use of public space. And they're able to create more inclusive environments with more children playing with all the associated benefits. And the improvements in air quality. So there's a big team. That's actually the big team doing all the research. I was surprisingly a small team working on this. Raquel Calvo, Adriana Valve are the 2 technical staff that implemented it, just like what Priscilla described. So we have a few reports that you can cite here, or you can find. I'd be happy to share the presentation. And maybe just a final plug. Every year I bring a group in May to come visit Barcelona and meet with the managers that actually made these changes happen. This is the group that came last May in 2024 that met with Andrea Valve, the coordinator of the Barcelona School Streets program. We'll be running another program in this May. You can follow us on Instagram or look for me on LinkedIn if you're interested in joining us and learning about what's happening in Barcelona.
Each one of you deserve a full session, but now each one of you have 1 minute for a call to action. One of the things that I love about Paris investing all that money is that the community gains a new public space, a new park, 24/7. So it's not only just during the school. Also, that is very difficult to take away. If there is a new mayor that doesn't like it, it's very hard to get rid of it. And by the way, school streets are not left or right. It shouldn't be about progressive or conservative. We should have an agreement on the what. Maybe the how is different. Maybe the right wing want to outsource to the private sector. Maybe the left wing wants to have unionized workers. But that is the how. The what should be has no left or right. It's about our safety of our children, the quality of air. So Priscilla, start a call to action to the people that are from all over. Public health, planners, transportation, what would you tell them? What can they do? How can they get inspired? And then, Jordi, you also have 1 minute.
Wow, it's a wide question for 1 minute answer. But for example, in Paris, we have a lot of district mayor, and then you have Hidalgo. But it's true that in the district mayor, you have people from the right and people from the left. And actually, I think that what you need to do is to really listen to them, listen to their problem, and actually they will understand. That's my feeling, that school streets answer to most of their problem. For example, even if you have a car, even if you have like I don't know, like going by car, you are more right and everything. You are more like it's more like about individualist thing and stuff. When you talk about the security of kids and things like this, they will be convinced, because this is like an argument that is not debatable. What I can see is that, for example, if I talk to like the left municipalities, they will be more like interesting about the air quality, the noise, the environment, and everything. So it's all about, I understand that people is different, and you have to listen everybody, and they don't have the same problem, and they don't have the same habits, and you have to make it like a bit for everybody, because, but at the same time, accidents. And I saw a big debate about accident. There is not accident, of course, but like this is about like the security of kids, the health of kids. That is the future. That is the most important. So this is not debatable, and it's really about talking and make them understand. And yes,
Thank you,
it matters.
Priscilla. Jordi, your call to action.
I guess my call to action would be to work in a network, right? Work with the schools, work with, if someone's organizing a bike bus, work with the public, the doctors here. The medical community has taken a strong stand to protect and improve air quality. And I think working in that network and having the diverse perspectives, there's the safety issue, the climate issue, but in some communities, maybe the climate messaging isn't as effective as the air quality messaging or as the safety. And so work with the network, get those diverse perspectives, but perhaps, adjust to whatever the community and the schools and the parents of the schools most resonates with them. But definitely work as a network. That would be my one call
Thank
to
you
action.
very, very much. And this works
Yeah.
in small cities, in large cities, in wealthy, in poor, and even
Exactly.
in the suburbs. Some people were asking about buses. No big deal. That means that the bus will drop off the kids one block away, and it will do them good to walk that final block. Priscilla, Jordi, thank you very, very much. And the hundreds and hundreds of people. I'm so grateful. I hope to see everyone 2 weeks from today, same time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day. And please use this. Once you have the video, 2 days from today, share it with decision makers, with advocates, with the media, because we gotta get school streets everywhere. Thanks, Priscilla, Jordi. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank
everyone.
you, Gil.
Priscilla and Jordi, thank you. Thank you. What an amazing presentation. I have worked in over 350 cities all over the world, and this is one of the most innovative and doable actions that can be taken in any city, anywhere. All of a sudden, you improve the safety of children getting to school, the quality of the air around the schools, and also the community gains a new public space. Your images were truly inspirational, and your stories and the measurements on all of the benefits. I hope that everybody that watches this video will share it with decision makers, elected officials, your mayors, your councilors, media, advocates, so that you push this into your cities. Start with a few schools and then do everyone. It's completely doable, and you're going to create a city that is more equitable, sustainable, and fun. See you in 2 weeks. Thank you.